Life update.
What an intro.
No, we wanted to do January update. So this was your idea. Tell us what your idea is.
Yeah, so I was thinking to give like monthly updates. It mainly came from 2023 because we gave like a yearly update. And I was thinking it would be nice to see like a progression. So that's where it came from. Also what we're doing in day to day.
Yeah.
And what's happening or what could happen in a design studio in a day-to-day business. And
month to month.
Actually month to month business. So yeah, basically that's where it came from. Could be nice insights.
Yeah.
Could be boring, but could be nice. Depends on the month.
It depends on the month. I feel like, yeah, we're just going to try it now and see how much we can talk about January. I feel like these episodes are going to be a little bit shorter than the usual ones.
Let's see.
I don't know.
I feel like we always think, it's going to be a short one and then we sit here.
But I don't know what is there to say. Okay, one thing I want to say about January, and this is something I say every year, is that January is the longest month of the year.
Facts. But it was actually good for me because I have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And it's nice that it kind of like was a slow month.
Yeah, I think it's because January is often slow. It feels really long, whereas months that are more busy fly by really fast.
Yeah.
And even though they have the same number of days, it doesn't feel like they do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what January was like for us, I think. It's like that every year. It's kind of, I don't know, it drags on a lot.
I don't know, I didn't think it was that bad this year, but maybe because
I also
had
felt that
time
way.
Pressure on my
No, I felt that way until about like the 20th of January. And then I was
fair.
like, we still have 10 days of this.
Okay, fair. Yeah, so I don't know, let's talk about what we did in January. Wanna start?
Yeah.
What did I do?
What did I do in January? I'm trying to think back.
Content creation.
A lot of content creation for YouTube, and then working with our video editor who's doing the editing of those shorter videos on YouTube. And then, so I was writing a lot of newsletters. So we joined Substack this year. We talk about the reasoning for that in the episode on our new content strategy. And when we joined, I was initially super motivated to write. I was like, and then I was like in the zone of writing. So I wrote like 4 newsletters on one day or something. So that's what I've been doing. And then also thinking about topics that we could write about, thinking about topics that we could talk about on podcasts, but also thinking about what other types of content we can provide that is fun and engaging, but also adds some kind of like educational value to the audience.
Yeah.
Which one of them we're going to try today after this.
Yeah, let's see how that goes.
So if it goes well, you'll see what it is in the next few weeks.
Just ignore.
Ignore what I just said, yeah.
Yeah. And from my side, I mean, actually also from our side, we hired an assistant.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we hired an assistant.
Which already feels life-changing to me. Like, she's only been here 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But even like on her first day, she came in, she's like ready to get going, and we gave her all these tasks and she just did it like... Yeah, I don't know, it's very nice to know there's someone there to help you out with smaller things, and you're not just like... It's not just one of those things that's on the bottom of your to-do list and you never get to it because there are so many other high priority things to do.
Yeah, also just at some point being able to shove that mental load away. That's also something I really look forward to.
Yeah.
So it's already happening, but there's going to be another update in
a
few months.
See how that goes
further
down the road.
But so far, I think the decision that we made to have someone help us out on that side is a really good one. So my gut feeling is telling me this was a good decision. Yeah. So let's see how it goes and how we feel about it later. And in general, I'm just curious to see what it's like to not have that mental load there hovering all the time. Looking forward to that. And other things, what was going on? A lot of client management for this month.
Yeah.
And a lot of work also for me this month in terms of client management, project management, and actual execution work. I feel like there's been a lot going on. And on top of that, also the hiring, and busy month for me.
Yeah. It's been busy as well in terms of projects. Like we have one ongoing project that kind of, it was like on a pause between November and January because of like they had other stuff to do, and then there was Christmas and like nothing really happens in December.
Yeah.
So it like started to get going again in January.
Yes, so a lot of times it happens that like that. So it's kind of like there's a break in December, and I really like December because with that it's like no one's really like whatever, let's just move it. But the problem is with the moving it, everything that happens in January.
Yeah, so like then there's like a week of January, I feel like the first week where not a lot happens, but then everyone comes back and they're like super motivated for the new year, and then they're like, let's get going on this, let's continue this. And then suddenly everything's like super fast paced and everything is happening really fast. So now I feel like a little more stressed on that end, because now it's like this project needs to be completed in the timeline. Whereas before I felt like, I mean, they were taking ages, partially because of Christmas, and then whenever the client takes ages to get stuff going, I'm always like, well, then I don't mind taking ages either. But then when they're like all motivated, you're like, oh, okay, now I have to be motivated too.
Because the responsibility is still on your shoulders.
Yeah.
To stay within the timeline, even though there was a break. And of course you can like say something and negotiate, but it's in the best interest of everyone to have it done ASAP.
Yeah, and this is the first bigger scale project we're doing with our designer, who doesn't have a lot of experience doing design. Like the experience she has doing this type of design that we do, so the web design for e-commerce, is she's gained being here and working here. So it's her first job like this, and it's been a learning curve for her, but also for us. Like, how do we teach her, and how do we do it in a way that's efficient and that things still get done? So this is the first project where I feel like now that it's started up again, she has some experience now. And so I feel like it's a little bit less work than it was when we started the project, because I don't need to give her as much feedback, but those feedback rounds are still there, and it's a lot of art direction, and there's a lot of work for me in that area. And then also keeping in mind that this thing still needs to get done. So if there is a time where I feel like there isn't enough time for feedback, art direction for her to then go back and fix things, I might have to go in there and do it. So that's always like a thing in the back of my mind when I'm planning the timeline. Like I need to plan like a day or two before a review with the client where I might need to go in and fix some stuff, which I don't like to do because I feel like
I know, because it
shouldn't be needed, but
but also it's like more like when you, for example, I don't know, I send you a text and you rewrite it. It's like I will learn less from it because I'm like, sure, noted and bye.
Exactly.
Whereas if I would have to rewrite it, of course I would learn more from it. I mean, that's like basic learning, I don't even know, processes, I would say. But sometimes it's necessary due to the timeline. And I think that there's only so much time to teach in a project, and then it gets just difficult to not jump in at some point.
I purposefully scheduled the review with the client a little later than I felt like it needed to be scheduled, so that we would have the time for her to do it and not for me to have to jump in. So I think there's gonna be enough time, but we'll see. Like right now I feel like it's in a good spot, but that's something that just like the insights of being the person not doing the execution, you can't just like, you can never just give it to somebody and they'll do it and then you get it back and it's done. There's still so much mental load involved, because you're the one who has to make sure things are done on time, and you have to keep checking in, and you can't just be like,
wait, managers work?
Yeah, we were. Like, I wish, honestly, like, I'm so honest about this. I wish I could just give it to someone and not have to think about it.
Yeah.
But it really isn't that. I still have it in the back of my mind. So while I would like to just create content all day and write newsletters and like do that stuff, because that's what I like about the stuff that we do. I can't, because at the back of my mind I'm like, oh, I need to make sure I give her feedback on time so that she can do her work, because her work is dependent on me, you know.
Yeah,
she can only do so much, and then she's like, hey, have you had a chance to look at it yet? And I'm like, oh damn it, I wanted to do that, but then I got distracted because suddenly I felt like writing a newsletter.
Yeah, no,
that's stupid.
Yeah, that's it with the management part of things. Yeah, I'm happy I don't have those things right now. I mean, with assistants, yes, but it's like, it's not client facing.
Yeah.
So it's for us mainly.
Yeah.
And it's the same with like you said, with the priority to-do list. It's on the bottom.
Yeah.
It needs to get done, but it's on the bottom. And if it's not that deep, it should get done, preferably in a decent time frame. But if it's not, then we're not gonna, like, I don't know, sync or whatever.
Yeah, another thing that's like on the bottom of my to-do list right now, which I do want to finish up this, or actually we're in February now, but it was a January project, I had our designer do the new website for my football team.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I struggled with, was because I'm going to be the one who has to manage the content on there. And now I had the experience from the client's perspective, where the last part of the project is me putting in the content.
Yeah.
So the website hasn't gone online yet, even though it's pretty much ready to go, because it's still missing the testing phase of the real content being in the website. Because the thing that clients forget is, like, you can test a website and it can be perfect, but then you have to test it again once the actual content is in.
Yeah.
Because maybe the text that you planned for in the design ends up being like twice as long.
Yeah.
Or maybe they don't have an image for this area where you expected there to be an image, and there's then all this stuff that you then have to like tweak.
Yeah.
So I'm like in the client's shoes right now, having to put in the content, and I'm like dragging my feet. We're always on the other end, like, hey, have you put in the content yet? Do you have the content that we can put in for you yet? And it's just funny to be on the other side of that. I totally get it, because it's just like you for some reason feel like it's gonna be more work than it is. Because then I actually started that task, like putting in the content, and I was like, okay, it's actually not that much work.
I mean, it depends on the size also. I think it's a lot of work that people actually underestimate.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's not hard work.
No, it's not hard work.
But you always feel there's like this, I don't know, this barrier there, thinking it's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's not hard, but especially if she did it on Framer. So you understand Framer, you've worked with it before.
Actually I didn't. I had to ask her so many times, like, how do I change this? How do I change that? I was like being super annoying. I was like, oh my God, this is what we feel like when the clients ask us dumb questions. Yeah. I'm like, sorry, I like don't use Framer that much.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, first of all, I think the barrier is you need to learn a new tool.
Yeah,
and that's where it like starts to get like really difficult. Like, okay, now I need to learn this. And now I like try to prepare clients like, hey, please take a look at the documentation before, like watch one YouTube video. It's all the same anyways. And so you just get a feel for it. And especially with clients, of course, who've never worked with it before or have like not a lot of experience, it makes sense to prepare them a bit of what's going to come. And one more thing that I'm doing, actually, I'm doing in parallel a boilerplate, so a so-called, I don't know, like a template. Imagine like a template that you can use to, if you like kickstart a new project, you can use this as a base, exactly, as a blueprint. And on parallel, I'm working on that. So while I'm implementing features or styling for this one project, I'm on the same time also working on our boilerplate that I forgot, but not as religiously.
That's like a side project.
It's like a side project.
The football website was also a side project. So the thing is, when you do design, there are always very intense phases where you're doing execution, and then there's usually a kind of a downtime while you're waiting on feedback from the client. Or in Julia's case, when she's waiting on feedback from our designer, when she's waiting on feedback from me, there are sometimes downtimes.
Yeah, and she's like, okay, what?
And I'm not like we're not managers that are like, you have to work every hour you are here and you're done, here's another task to do. It's not like that, but like at times when she maybe has like a window of time, a free time, I told her she should work on this website. So it was kind of like a side project. And then there was a lot of there ended up being a lot of downtime from this project that was kind of on hold because our client was off doing something else. That she had a lot of time to finish that, actually.
Yeah.
And I think that was also for me, like, oh my God, now she's actually done with this website and now it's on me.
Yeah.
I didn't expect her to be done so quickly. I thought it was going to be like a thing that goes over like a few months.
Yeah.
But it ended up being done really fast. Yeah, but it's funny. It's like a project I've been wanting to do for a really long time.
Since Same exists.
Since Same exists, but we never had time.
No, I remember so many started designs on Figma.
Yeah, we've always had like side projects. I mean, the podcast is one, the course is one. We've had lots of other ideas that never became anything because we didn't have the time. So we always talk about, pricing and time management and having a work-life balance and stuff. And the reason for that is that you can then do something like a passion project.
Yeah.
Finance your passion projects where you're not getting a lot of money, you're not getting any money from, and then maybe you'll get some money once it's like launched or whatever. And the football thing is like completely zero money.
Yeah, it's a charity project.
It's a charity project. So my football team we're not professional. We don't get money from it. We actually pay to be able to be in the team and to be able to play in the league and stuff. So it was a complete, just like zero, actually a minus project if you think about the time that we invested in it. But it's just like for a good cause kind of thing. And plus it's using the resources that we have for something. It was also to give our designer an opportunity to learn a little bit in terms of like starting a project from the very beginning to the end. Because sometimes, or a lot of the time, she comes into a project after we've already decided on like a direction or creative concept. And I wanted her to have the opportunity to be able to develop that herself.
Yeah.
So it was also a bit of an exercise and learning experience for her.
Also a bit more freedom. Our designs need to follow a design system. They're quite big projects. So they need like a stricter system. They are not as, I'm saying quotation marks, creative.
Yeah.
From a perspective of I can do whatever I want. And this project was kind of like do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's also cool.
Yeah, and there's like zero, like no one has any expectations. Yeah. You never have that. Like clients have a lot of expectations. Yeah. Even if it isn't a big e-commerce thing, they'll have aesthetic expectations or like
makes sense. Like
subjective expectations. Yeah.
Everyone has their preferences, everyone has their own aesthetics, and of course they want their website to resemble that.
Yeah, and I mean I haven't showed it to my trainer yet, so I might be jumping the gun here, but but I don't think he's gonna have any comments.
Yeah,
like he's just happy that somebody is taking this on and doing it, because our website is actually fine, like it's functional, and everyone finds our team via Google and via the website, so a lot of people see it.
Yeah.
But it's just old and it just doesn't look up to date. Like when you go on it, it doesn't look like this team is still active.
Yeah, makes
That's
sense.
how old it is. So he's just happy someone's doing it. I don't think he's gonna have any comments.
Okay, we'll see.
I'll update you in February probably.
We should write like notes on what we need to update
in the February episode.
Well, stay tuned.
Well, if we don't update on it, then it would probably wasn't a big deal.
No, if we ever don't give an update, things are going well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we just like often have like
they're either going fine, if they're fine. That means it's not like particularly exciting or particularly bad.
Yeah, and I think that's it.
I think that's it too. I think overall January has been like a very successful month.
Yeah, I agree.
Only positive things to share.
Yeah.
And the negative things, I mean, there are always negative things, but there aren't any. It's nothing that really impacted us in a big way.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Like, there's always ups and downs. But
I would say on a positive financial note as well is that we went to the bank and had like what's it called?
A consulting
session.
Like
a consulting session with our bank person, and he, I don't know how to call these people, bank person.
He's our
bank or financial
he's not even a he's not even a consultant or advisor.
Well, I guess he's an advisor at the bank. That is kind of his role.
True. Yeah.
Anyway, he was advising us on ways that we can invest the money that we have, which I think is a positive thing, because it's something we never would have been able to do last year, because we were like, let's just make sure we have our liquidity and we keep our liquidity, and we were just like panicked about losing liquidity.
And such a trauma.
I mean, I'm still traumatized by that, but I feel like if the bank advisor sees our account and his opinion is we should invest some things, I feel like that's a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they are like always a bit like, just do it, invest with us, because they want to get the commission, they want to get like money, but
he was right that we should do something with it.
But also he was like, I don't know, his attitude was more like, I don't know, I can't really put it into words, but how it's like when someone is like, I don't know, like they have money, I can sell them things, kind of attitude.
I know.
So that was like, oh, he thinks that
that we have money.
He thinks that we have enough money to
be able to sell us something.
I
know. I feel like it's a positive note.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I
agree.
If our bank statements looked really bad,
he would be like, do you want a credit?
Yikes! Yeah, he would be selling us a credit or something.
So that's also great month.
If you could rate it on a scale of 1 to 10,
I would say an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. It was solid, but there things could be happening where it would be like a 10 out of 10. Like, for example...
I know what you mean.
Okay, great. Like, it's just like...
I know exactly what you mean.
So,
agree.
Yeah, but overall, from a perspective of work, from a perspective of clients, from a perspective of the day-to-day... solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay,
great.
Nice.
Let's always add the ratings.
Yeah, I think we should do that. I feel like that helps too, because then you can see like either a progression or like a regression.
Ooh, this would have been so interesting for 2023, but I feel like it would have just gone down and then stayed there.
23, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 24.
For sure.
24, you would have seen a progression.
24 would have been like down and then 10 at the end of the year.
Yeah, to be honest. So, and somewhere in mid-year also 10.
Yeah.
Would have been an interesting
year. We can do this starting this year and then...
Yeah, and then let's see.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Never Went to Business School. Don't forget to follow us here on Spotify. And if you enjoy our content, check out our YouTube channel for more educational videos and subscribe to our newsletter on Substack.